I made the mistake of reading this to my wife in the car. She was driving. I said, "Have you read this stuff? Do you know what happened with these Pakistani Muslim rape gangs?" And she was like, "Well, yeah, they just abuse some girls." Listen, I said, "Listen to this." Afterwards, she said to me, "I wish you hadn't told me that because now I can't forget about it. I can't unsee it. I can't unhear it." And that's the truth. So be careful. Okay, welcome back to Fast Ship Performance. Then my name is Tim Davies, guys. We're going to jump straight in. All right, we're going to jump straight in. Some things you will never be able to unsee. Some things you'll never be able to unhear, and today is one of those things. So I'm warning you now on this video, you might not want to watch this one. If you're not from the UK, you may not be aware of the Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs. I'll say predominantly Pakistani Muslims to basically stop people complaining in the comments. But it's a big thing that happened around about 2010. A lot of these then went to trial. Not many of these people were extradited out of the country. However, they are in prison. A lot of them, but not all of them. And some people, as we'll see, will say that they've just, it's a tip of the iceberg, basically. So this is the sentencing remarks of a judge, Peter Rook, QC, who did the Oxford trials. It's kind of just come to light, really, and that's how I've seen it. People are talking about it. And really, as you can see here, he is saying to the people, the 5 defendants up top there, all Pakistani Muslim men, you have been found guilty by a jury of a series of sexual crimes in the utmost gravity. The offences involved the exploitation and abuse of young, highly vulnerable girls in the Oxford area over a long period. Apparently, they picked them up from Henley-on-Thames, a care home outside of those, and then they abused these women. Let's get into this then. I just want to read you a section. You can read the whole thing. I'll drop the link in if you want to read the whole thing, it's pretty horrific. And there are these, of course, for Rotherham and Leeds and all other places, as we'll see in a second. And I was about to read you a section. I've just found another section here and scrolling through. And there's a lot of these sections. This section 47 here, in November 2006, when she was 14, you took her to Nanford House for sex. She agreed. This is talking about these really young girls. They were under the age of like 13. This stuff is horrible for my channel. And it's horrible for you to have to see. And the actual thing I want to read you is not even this. I've just discovered more stuff in this document as I've gone through it. Look at this. There came a time she wanted to go. However, after taking cocaine, you would not let her go. This is a kid. This is a kid. Look, she was 14. She made it clear she wanted to go home. Her mother would be worried. You insisted on further sex, knowing she was no longer consenting, like she was in the first place, guys. You subjected her to a prolonged assault involving sexual and physical violence, degradation, and humiliation. This is disgusting language I'm using now. I don't want you to, I'm not going to beep it out because, as we have to know what's going on. In particular, you became very angry. You jumped on top of her, pulled her hair, and forced her head onto your penis. You penetrated her vagina twice, ejaculated. At one stage, she could not breathe because your hands were tight around her neck and she felt she was being throttled. You told her you were going to kill her. Man, what is happening with this? Man. Let's read the next bit. You also pushed her into the shower and urinated upon her. This is degradation of English and Welsh and Scottish women. This is absolutely ridiculous by people who shouldn't even be here. Let's be honest right now. These people shouldn't even be in the country. And they are in jail now for the ones that they found out. However, I mean, look at this. This is rape here. This is rape. Rape again of it. Man, the bit I want to read you, guys, even worse than this. I've just stumbled upon this. I made the mistake of reading this to my wife in the car. She was driving. I said, "Have you read this stuff? Do you know what happened with these Pakistani Muslim rape gangs?" And she was like, "Well, yeah, they just abuse some girls." Listen, I said, "Listen to this." Afterwards, she said to me, "I wish you hadn't told me that because now I can't forget about it. I can't unsee it. I can't unhear it." And that's the truth. So be careful. This judge said to this rapist, let's call it what it is, Mohammed Karar, you prepared her for gang anal rape by using a pump to expand her anal passage. I didn't even realize this stuff was possible, so I'm learning here, you know what I'm saying? You subjected her to a gang rape by 5 or 6 men. At one point, she had 4 men inside her. I said that to my wife, and my wife was doing some maths. She was, I've been with the same woman since I was 19, and she's like, "What's the fourth?" I'm like, "I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on right now." A red ball was placed in her mouth to keep her quiet. Not only were you involved in the commercial sexual exploitation of this young girl, listen to me, young girl. You also used her for your own self-gratification. You both raped her when she was under 13, when she was very young, although it is not clear whether she was under 13. You both raped her at the same time, oral and vaginal and anal. It happened on more than one occasion. And then here, listen to this next one, and then I'm going to stop talking about this because it's disgusting. On one occasion, when she was 12, this girl was 12. This is a child. How did they get hold of these? I'll tell you why that happened. After raping her, she threatened you with a lock knife. Obviously, this girl's terrified, right? Your reaction was to pick up a baseball bat with a silver metal handle, strike her on the head with it, and then insert the baseball bat inside her vagina. You treated her as if she was your commodity. You branded her. Man, this is someone that shouldn't even be in the country branding English women. English children, that's what I'm saying. With your initial near her anal passage using a hairpin. If the girl did not comply with your wishes, if you were not with other people, you would lose your temper with her. As part of the grooming, you would provide her with crack cocaine and you injected her with heroin on numerous occasions. I mean, I'm sorry I had to kind of read that to you. I really am. If I'm honest, guys, we have to be aware of this. We can't expect. This is why this hasn't come out in the mainstream press. This has been suppressed. We know this. It hasn't come out. I mean, we've heard stories. Let's go on and just look at a few other things, and I'll leave this video to you. Now, one of the women that actually exposed this was Labour MP Sarah Champion back in the day. She describes it as a national disaster and demanding a task force to fight the horror. An absolute great woman, to be fair. There was another woman, there was a social worker who also basically said this. She said she had a lot of women coming to her for help, and obviously these people were being ignored, not only by the police, but also by social services. Now, Rotherham also had a whistleblower. This is back in 2022 here. And this lady here, Jane Senior, again was ignored. And she described her frustration and horror when much of information was not taken any further. This woman got an MBE for those services. A lot of this didn't come out because, of course, the police said that the girls deserved it and that, these girls were having boyfriends and things like this. I think this young chap speaks for most of us.
A lot of the people who are coming in, I don't want to be too harsh on them, but they have a completely different set of values, especially when it comes to their laws, than we do in the UK. And they seem to want to impose their way of life from where they are from on us. One thing that's certainly happened is more and more sexual assaults, I think, are becoming apparent. There's also a huge increase in gang violence, and it seems like the police seem scared to counteract this. Police have been open about how they're not within their resources to respond to burglaries, for example. They've openly admitted that. However, they seemingly have huge amounts of resources to go after people who make offensive tweets. The internet could well be over-dramatising that, but the point is, the internet is only showing what other people are seeing. So even though it might not just be happening in your world, what you see with your eyes is not just what there is to see. There's a lot more to see, and that's what the internet is bringing to light.
And the young man there, the future of our country, of course, makes some really valid points, doesn't he? Let's have a look at what happens when we do manage to get one of these men returned back to Pakistan.
Felt racism in England.
They do.
What happened to you?
I'm the victim. I had an indefinite visa, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they deported me.
For what? What did they tell you? Like, what was the reason?
Just racism, innit?
Did you?
I've done 3 years prison for nothing. If you have money, you're free in this country. You can't do anything. You can buy the police in this country. In UK, it's no freedom. You go something against the limit, they put you in the prison. Yeah, I've been through this shit.
What an absolute fucking tool. I'm glad that boy's gone, to be fair. My only sorrow is that I can't find him and do him some damage myself, you know what I mean? Because that's the kind of guy that's been attacking our young women, you know what I mean? And now he's out there calling this country racist because this man had to spend 3 years in jail for nothing. Of course, we lock people up for nothing. Absolute tool. No time for that whatsoever. And this is the sort of thing we've got then. Furious drug dealing Lithuanian illegal immigrant with 17 offences jailed in Britain instead of being deported. Again, we can't deport these people. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, of course, they live in our prisons, don't they? We're paying for them. I think it's like 50 grand a year to pay for these then. Dodging deportation, laid bare after it was revealed a legal immigrant, by the way, with 17 convictions, was jailed yet again less than a month after being released from prison. Again, a Daily Mail, a private school girl, mothers who excuse gang rape, and a terrifying culture clash that no one dares talk about. How Somalian men are living by their own laws and causing devastating repercussions in, I mean, isn't it something like 70% of Somalians in London are in social housing? I did see someone say, oh, this is tarnishing the name of the Somalians. Well, don't do it then, mate. That's pretty simple, isn't it? Don't do it. And it does seem that we can't get rid of these people. They just keep coming in. It's almost like a conspiracy, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
Breaking news for you, reaching us in the last few moments, and it's this. 3 Afghan nationals who were convicted in Belgium over their involvement in a major people smuggling ring have been arrested while on the run in the UK. Prosecutors in Belgium say they were part of a gang involved in organising the transport of migrants from Afghanistan through Iran and the Balkans and then into Western Europe. And authorities say they were also part of a group who committed serious sexual offences, including rape against male migrant minors. And the gang members now face being returned to Belgium to serve their sentences, and extradition proceedings have begun.
Now, there's a lot we could carry on talking about, and it's not fair on you to just drag this video out. I just want to get out, I want to keep it short. But this chap here, I think he's a Hindu, so he's an Indian chap. He talks about Muslims that do these kind of crimes, or let's say predominantly Pakistani Muslims that do these kind of crimes. And I think it's interesting to see how they rationalise it in their own head.
Brumistan, as I call it, Birmingham, Brumistan, is actually a place for Pakistanis to live. So many people, I mean, because I've got filter, so many people, so many Asians have got fucking rattled. I'm not joking. So many of them just got rattled. They were writing, you're talking out of your ass. That is not true. We are not like this. Oh man, that is the problem with your community. That is the fucking problem with your community. You spend more time denying the shit. Well, I bet you yourself as a drug dealer, and you probably have friends who are the same. You go to the mosque, you know the guy sitting next to you is a drug dealer, but that's okay. He's praying 5 times, so that's okay. So many people have just come back to me and said, no, this guy's a coconut. Oh, this guy doesn't know Banjo. Honestly, I can't believe you guys are so... Anyway.
Yeah, coconut is someone who's black on the outside, white on the inside. It's an insult, apparently, although it's not one that's we can do anything about. It is one that's tolerated for some reason in the UK media. And so we're finished then, just before you all call me racist and stuff, because I don't want young English girls being raped by anyone, let alone people that shouldn't even be in the country. We'll leave Douglas Murray to say something, shall we? So at least if you call me racist, then I guess I've got a friend in Douglas.
I don't want them to live here. I don't want them here. They came under false pretenses. Many of them came illegally and continue to come illegally, and we don't want them here. And I'm perfectly willing to say that because it needs to be said. If I hated Australia, hated the Australian people, hated Australian history, hated the Australian way of life, broke into the country illegally and spent my time trying to undermine Australia, why should I be in Australia? Why? What would I have brought the country? What benefit? What moral benefit? What financial benefit? What social benefit? The answer is you'd have brought no benefit.
I'll tell you the one bad thing as well. Well, one bad thing. It's all bad. I noticed this. And again, this is about the Rotherham guys at the top here. It said that basically the defendants' relatives were in the court here. They were dead-eyeing one of the victims. I'm not too sure what that means. Another relative instructed another relative to slap the bitch. Basically, National Crime Agency officers had to intervene there, and security had to intervene. The victim said that Syab and Sadiq were cruel and appalling rapists. They stole my childhood. Their relatives should have some shame, but instead they're trying to fight with me at court. And that's what we see. So the convicted paedophiles' families, the rapist families attending the trial, waved to them as they entered the court. Family members were seen shaking their heads and crying as the sentence was delivered. There's no shame here. Someone said, I love you, Dad, as he would let out the dock. So I just don't understand. It's like the family of these rapists for some reason sympathise and agree with them. I'm just going to leave it, guys. I'm sorry to have to make a video like this. You know what I mean? I just don't know what the answer is, really. It's absolutely horrific, and it's going on in our country to our girls. Hit the comments. Tell me what you think about it, because I don't know what we should be doing here. It's absolutely ridiculous. It seems to be that our government is allowing this to happen, and we're not extraditing these people. We're not sending them back because we can't send them back. Apparently, it's very complicated. If I was the Prime Minister, I would tell you what I would do. I would not allow our military to get the size it's got to for a start. I would bolster our police force as well. I would rip apart the Home Office. I would find all these little liberal lefties that have allowed this to happen. I'll jail a lot of them. I'm not even joking you, I would. I'd give them custodial sentences, maybe just 3 months or something, but I would say you allowed this to happen. You hid this, you overlooked it, including senior police, everything else. I would put them in prison for 3 months to show people that you can't do this, all right? You can't do it. And basically, I'd make an example of them, and then I would shake up this country. I would throw these people out. I'd throw their families out with them. None of this is wanted. If you're not contributing to the UK, you'll be out, All right, and I'll give you a chance to get a job. I'll give you a job myself. You don't want to do it, out. I'll turn this place around, absolutely 100%. And you don't realize how violent that would be and how sudden it would be as well. That's the kind of leadership we need in this country. Rupert Lowe's demonstrating this with reform. I don't see it coming out of any other part. Actually, the globalists leaping in here and just trying to make everyone a global citizen, not even looking after the actual British people at all, just going after anyone they think is going to come in and is going to help them increase the gross domestic product of the country. It's absolutely sickening. This could be one of your daughters here. This could be, you know, your wife or something. This is what's absolutely horrific with this, guys. We need to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to leave it like that. It's absolutely horrific. Apologies for bringing this to you. I know it's not a great video. Tim Davies, Fast Performance.